And then how do okay. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Are you all okay? Hello. Sorry about that. I had a little
Yes.
bit of a tech issue.
Okay,
Rebecca
no
will
worries.
I'll give you a little bit of an intro when everyone comes on, and then I'll have you do the rest of the talking.
That's fine, no problem.
Perfect. Is the share your screen working and everything on your end?
Yeah, let me, if we can just,
Just
yeah,
have a little
that
look over.
seems to work.
All
Yep,
working?
yep.
Perfect. I'll let everyone in. Doo, doo, doo. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you all okay? Can you all hear we're okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
yep. Perfect. Okay. So I'm Neve. I am signed in as Rebecca right now because I needed host access to do the session. We've got the lovely Sabine here joining with today. Rebecca will be joining with once she's free. So, Sabine, you're going to be speaking to her about the corporate grind today. I'll hand over to you whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome to this conversation today. Yeah, I think Rebecca will come in a little bit later and we can go through some Q&A. I have prepared a little presentation so we can go through this. I'd love to understand where you guys are at the moment. Are you active in a 9 to 5 job? Are you thinking about jumping ship and starting something yourself on the side, or you're already in entrepreneurship? Yeah, I'd love to understand where you're at, and so I can pitch it in the right way as well.
So I'm in a 9 to 5 at the moment. I work in business admin and community management. And I help run Rebecca's community.
Okay, cool. And anyone else, if you want to type it as well, that's fine. Or you just want to unmute. Either way, I'm very happy to take questions. So think about starting a business through the franchise route. Okay, so this franchising, perhaps taking already an established business model and getting already the marketing and everything set up for you, which is a great option. Yeah, absolutely. Um, what I do is I actually worked also in a 9 to 5. I still do some 9 to 5 work, but more as a freelance consultant. That's how I started. Um, and I've been now in business for about 15 years, and I run my own coaching, consulting, freelance business. So I've been around the block for a little bit, and I'll be very happy to share what's been going on my side and where were the pitfalls and what to look out for, especially when you are moving out from a 9 to 5 job. Then, all of a sudden, how do we transition? Do we want to leave altogether and start like from scratch on day one, or do we want to transition slowly when we are a little bit more stable um, on the side hustle? And how do we take all this? So there's some pros and cons and some thoughts behind this. And yeah, don't have the courage to start my own project yet, but always love to learn and get inspired. Yeah, I find that a lot as well. I work a lot with startups that are still working in the 9 to 5, and it's like, you know, I don't know how to say this. We're kind of, it's like it's safe when you're working in for somebody else. You will get your salary at the end of the month. And I guess when you are starting that business, then you are starting like really let go of your salary and then starting, then obviously, yeah, there's more pressure. So that's maybe one reason why there needs to be courage. But again, it doesn't need to be that way. So the idea is to really understand what am I good at and what really lights me up? And that was my consideration when I left my 9 to 5 job. I was in a senior management role. It was very hectic. Um, I had 2 children at the time, and I thought, you know what, I just need a bit of a breathing space. They wanted me back 9 to 5, more than 9 to 5 actually, and I was traveling a lot, also on European sites, and I wasn't around, for a couple of days a week. And I just thought, this is not what I want to do for, having small children at home. So I started off as a consultant for the company that I actually worked with. That was a very easy way in, right? And I thought, okay, that's going to give me a bit of a testing ground. And then I wanted to do more and more things in a digital arena because I understand, training, consulting, coaching. And I thought, doing something online is not only fun, I enjoyed that. Of course, the tech was a little bit of a issue in the beginning to get it all set up, but it's much easier now. It was like almost 15 years ago, and it was horrible. We had to, code websites and do all kinds of weird things, which I wouldn't want to do nowadays. So it's much easier. So there is leverage. So that's the reason why I picked um, the digital space for today, because there's a lot of leverage. Of course, when you have franchise or brick and mortar, it may be a little bit different. I can also talk to e-commerce because I'm helping my husband creating an e-commerce store at the moment. So there's the different nuances, but in general, the thoughts that are put into this presentation, you want to ask yourself these things anyways, right? So you want to go through these questions and get clear on what it is you want to create and how you want to transition. That's my main goal for you today. And by the way, I also have a school community. I absolutely love school. I promote school everywhere I go. It's called the Empower Me Hub. So if you're interested, you can always join. I'll actually share some details at the end of this conversation as well. So, right, let's dive in. There's a lot to cover. There's a couple of faces, a couple of people that I've helped in very quirky niches as well. I want to talk about this lady with the horse. She's like almost like the horse whisperer. She works with horses and the power of horses, and she couldn't really explain what she was doing. So she came to me and we made it really, really clear. So clarity is always the first step in terms of what is it that you're doing, how are you helping people, and also making it visible. So what we did, for example, as you see in the black box, we created 9 steps to a solution. So it's called the signature solution, like a methodology. So when it comes to you thinking about what could I offer, think about what are generally the problems that my clients might be facing or my future clients might be facing, and then how can I visually represent this? And nowadays we've got AI, we've got all the tools that we used to have to do all this copywriting ourselves and really thinking about and doing research, customer research, and something like ChatGPT can help us so much and so much quicker nowadays as well. So it's worked for, as I said, loads of different people who started their own business, growing their businesses in consulting, coaches, therapists, healers, even fashion stylists, other quirky ones to have, even language teachers. So the language teachers who want to take their business online and want to reach more people, and of course, career leadership consultants. So there's me. I've written 3 books along the line. So once you become an entrepreneur, all of a sudden you have different inspirations, and of course you want to be visible. So one of my ideas was writing a book. Actually became 3 books, and I'm working on my 4th one with 25 stories in each book about entrepreneurs and leaders across the globe. And then I was invited into different interviews on radio. I think one was even BBC radio in the area, and then also spoke to some of the corporate again. So for me, it was 360 degrees back into corporate, and that's so I could actually go and serve again. So my quest was like leadership training, women's empowerment kind of thing. So as you can see, it led me back into corporate after all. I've also been speaking on larger platforms. Here is a school community, which is the AI-driven business summit. So we did talk about AI and hints and tips and tricks about how to use AI in your business. And that was quite recent. They probably have now more than 4,000 people in this group. So I was one of the speakers there as well. So worthwhile checking it out. And today I'm going to keep it real talk. There are obviously frustrations, risks, and opportunities when you start your own business. So and if there are questions, please just type it in the chat and I'll definitely pick them up, perhaps towards the end, so that we can bundle all the questions. Okay, cool. So changing the corporate landscape. So what's actually happening? Maybe you guys can tell me, why are you thinking about potentially jumping ship and starting your own thing? Is it because you want more joy in your life? Is it because you may be facing redundancy or you are stuck in a dead-end job? There must be some sort of reason. I see a lot of people being burnt out. There's a lot of redundancies, and then you end up having to do two people's jobs. Salaries might be stagnant. So might be thinking about, yeah, I can make loads more money and become a millionaire, because we see all of this stuff, gurus online, you got ads being served, and you're seeing lots of things happening on social media. But don't be fooled, right? That's why I'm asking you, why do you want to start a business? You've got to be very, very realistic. Because I'm going to talk all of these, especially number 4, because sometimes work-life balance actually goes out the window when you start the business, because you may be working evenings and weekends, of course, voluntarily because you love it so much. But as I said, we got to be very careful and mindful of this. So, yeah, I guess the question is, why do you want to start a business? Most people want to have flexibility. They want to have independence and financial freedom, creative control. They can work as and when. They don't have to do the 9 to 5. Maybe take some days off, holidays, all this stuff, right? And of course, for the lifestyle. Those were all my reasons, to be honest. Now, let's look at the downsides of each of them. So flexibility, I already said, often, from my experience, I work longer hours than just the 9 to 5, and it's not like you can easily switch off. You may want to do stuff in evenings and on weekends. Financial independence, well, there are no consistent paychecks at the end of every month. The business does need funding. So when you do make money or when you start off, you've got to have a little bit of capital. And a lot of people want to do a DIY and it's sort of patching things up and going on YouTube and reading all these self-help books and stuff like that. But to be honest, I did this as well. I have lost so much time and energy. I wouldn't actually advise anyone to do this. I would advise to actually find a space where you can get the support, where you can learn from people who already walk the path ahead of you, and get the support. It's really, really important. So, and then of course you may also incur losses and debt. That's absolutely possible. I think I even read a really horrific statistic that how many, like 99% of businesses don't even survive the 5-year mark. Then there's another statistic that although the gurus and all the hype on social media, it's all like, yeah, I've just made 6 figures, 7 figures, all that kind of stuff. But there is a real statistic to say that is only about 2 or 3% of people that actually ever make a 6-figure income online. So that was quite shocking to me, because when we go on social media, like every other person, especially where I am, I'm obviously in these entrepreneurship groups. Everyone's like, yeah, I've just done a multiple 6-figure year and all that. And I don't know how many people actually telling the truth. But then also, if they did make 6, 7 figures, how much money did they actually invest in marketing and in all the systems that they're having and people they have to pay and all that kind of stuff? So that is probably just turnover and may not be profit. So creative control. Yes. So the downside is that we business owners also need to fulfill the tasks that we don't really like to do or that we don't even have a skill set for. Like this morning, I was just looking at an AI crash course because I realized, hang on, I need to do some more AI stuff, and maybe I want to enhance, maybe do some small short films and stuff like this. I'm like, oh gosh, I got to actually learn this software and all that. But Do I want to do it? Actually, I don't want to do it. Probably I have to do it. We have to go with the flow a little bit, and that takes more time and energy. Of course, we can also outsource and get some support. That could be very, very expensive in the beginning, especially when we bootstrap our startup. And of course, when you are getting a franchise, that's a model that's already existing, it's already proven, and you may actually already get all these marketing materials. They already tell you, maybe they already have some customers. So that's actually a really good way to go in into a business as a franchisee. The only thing is, I guess you will have quite a bit of an investment upfront to actually purchase your franchise, and then you have to also learn some of the tools and the things that they tell you to do. So again, you're probably not going to get around some of these things, and it will apply to you as well. In terms of lifestyle, business owners actually take less holidays, believe it or not, on average. And we also lack boundaries, because that means sometimes we work longer hours and weekends and so on. Maybe we say, oh, if we don't work, we can't actually take time off, because if we don't work, we're not making any income. So that's the mindset cycle here. And I'll talk a bit about mindset as well coming up. So in essence, we're starting to wear all the hats. Before we were maybe somewhere in an organization, and that was the role. And all of a sudden, you've got to be everything. You got to be the visionary, the CEO, the marketing and salesperson. You got to find and serve clients, and then also operations and finance. You got to run the whole thing. So we have to be mindful of that. It's not impossible, but obviously, it is a task in itself. There is emotional roller coaster. So let's talk a little bit about mindset. I don't want to paint, obviously, everything so bleak. I will also share some amazing results that I've had, and I wouldn't be in business for 15 years if I wasn't successful and if I didn't enjoy. But there is this initial hump where we do have this imposter syndrome, where like, how am I to actually do this? Can I serve anyone? I mean, have I got anything to give? These are obviously questions that come up, and these are absolutely normal. What if it doesn't work? What if I'm losing money? How about self-motivation? So I just spoke to actually one of a family member who said they wanted to start their own business. They've been unemployed for a while, and they said, oh, that's it, I'm going to just start my own business. I was like, how's your business going? Because I helped them write a little business plan and the messaging. We even did a logo and everything else. And how's it going? And obviously that was unpaid work. They're not in my program or anything like that. So I can't help them with accountability ongoing. And then plus, family, how it is. But they said, well, actually now I don't have no boss. I have no deadlines. I'm just floating. I don't even know where I should be starting. And I'm procrastinating. I'm not doing anything, basically. So that is a pitfall to be aware of if you don't have the right support around you. And of course, the big thing is building resilience and adaptability. As I said, I now need to go and learn a bit of AI and be resilient around that. Although I never really enjoyed the tech stuff, but I had to learn it. And now, even so much so that I actually teach others how to do all the tech and building their pages and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so the reality check really is just be aware, right? Owning a business isn't easy, but it's absolutely possible. Then the mindset. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Surround yourself with good people. We are already in this amazing group. Rebecca is here to help you, and school is a great platform where you can find other communities that will help and support you as well. And start small. So don't think you got to do everything within a couple of days. Sometimes we have big dreams and big visions, and we can probably very well imagine how running that business and being successful, making 6 and 7 figures would actually look like on a day-to-day basis. But of course, we need to actually bridge the gap. So how do we do this? We can easily get overwhelmed, and we don't know where to get started. So you write down 3 next steps that you can be doing. I had to do this with my husband because of this e-commerce store is something that is new to us, that is now not just digital programs or digital services. Now we have to go and find a supplier, speak to them, make sure the quality is okay, then build the website, do Instagram and marketing, Facebook ads and all that. And it's like, whoa, oh, what comes first, right? So I said to him, look, let's just have one small goal that we want to achieve, like today and tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, and let's forget the whole mountain that we need to climb. Otherwise, we're not gonna do anything. We'll be like here forever, procrastinating in freeze mode, right? So creating a business is putting together little puzzle pieces that all come together in the end to form the big picture. And yeah, again, this is a bit of a mindset as to what can we do here. We just got to reframe our success and the vision. As I said, we need to understand corporate success means perhaps promotions, salary increases, and a job title, and so on. But the entrepreneurial success, of course, would mean impact, financial control, freedom. However, I think the real success, because when we don't straight away make this new income and be successful, because it takes some trial and error and moving forward and learning, but we're never going backwards. Remind yourself that we're always moving forward, we're always learning, right? We cannot regress in terms of our mindset and how we develop. So think about it as even every failure could be a small success. So you got to really reframe how we think about it when we move along those little milestones and then celebrate the milestone. I started a little digital right now, and I have also a physical one now coming out, like a jar that like a gratitude jar, because I want to just put in all the little wins, because every day we might have a small win and a small win, and all of a sudden the jar fills up. My digital wins jar is actually people commenting, giving me some fabulous feedback about masterclasses, about clients that have had some wins. So I actually put a snippet in a folder, and that's my digital gratitude jar. So we can always do that and just visualize those real wins that where we're moving forward, even if they're very, very small. So we need to have patience, self-belief, because this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. We need to develop the resilience. Failure, as I said, isn't the end, it's all feedback. For example, when I'm running Facebook ads, the first ad may not be that successful, so I'm going to run 2 or 3 or 4 ads. Nowadays, with the Andromeda updates quite recently, we need to run many, many more ads, and Facebook will find the right people at the right time. The more creative we give it, the better it will be able to find the right clients. So that's all feedback, that's all data. So we need to put ourselves out there, even if it's imperfect, and then we'll get data back. And of course, things will never go as planned. It would be lovely, but again, this is all about adapting, changing, seeing what's new, what's impacting us. Like making text digital is something that's happening next year as well. So could think about how do you do all the bookkeeping. We just have to go with the flow a little bit and be adaptable. So how do we build it now? Are there any questions so far? I just want to see, does this make sense? Do you have any observations, questions? Do you agree what the observations are? Or you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to start that business now, or like, oh, it's great to actually be aware of it. Because I wish I was aware of those, because I was just looking at the big picture and the 6 and 7 figure earners.
No, I think it's worthwhile going through the risks as well as the positives in that sense.
Yeah. Thank you for that feedback. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people are not doing this online because obviously they want to sell their online courses and stuff and get you in. So I want to have, like as I said, I want to have this real talk, and make everyone aware. And there's a lot of bogus people out there that are just regurgitating other people's stuff, and they're not authentic. They haven't even built their own businesses up to 6, 7 figures, and then they're coaching others to achieve those kind of numbers, which I think is inauthentic. So we got to be very mindful as to who we surround ourselves with. So now the question is how we build it. So there's different versions. So version number 1, you want to just jump ship, right? You quit your job and now I'm self-employed. That's it. Boom. High risk, fast pressure, because, okay, maybe you have a bit of savings, that's fine. And you have, okay, maybe it's going to take you over 3 to 6 months, the savings, in case the business isn't bringing in or replacing your salary straight away. So we got to be mindful of that. Or version number 2, you can start it as a side hustle first, which is slightly lower risk, very low risk actually, unless you put yourself out there and say you aren't allowed to have that side hustle by a company. You got to be obviously mindful how you show up on social media and what you're doing. But if you're doing it in your own time and you're not taking the company's time doing it or taking their clients away, obviously, well, I don't see why not. So it could lead to a stable income and sustainable growth. Now, what I teach in my programs is called evergreen systems, right? So I came to the conclusion that I needed to set myself up so that I don't have to spend my time against money all the time. So that means I have pre-recorded a lot of stuff. Obviously, I am in the digital marketing space. I have created certain steps where I can now automatically find customers, then connect with customers, and sort of doing that a little bit more on scale. And I think school has actually brought in a lot of advantages for digital entrepreneurs who want to serve others with a service-based business. And it really, really helps take the time, getting that time back. And that means, in theory, I could actually have a 9 to 5 job, knowing that everything else in the background is being automated or semi-automated, and it's just working. Like, for example, being visible. My posts. I have a post planning software, so I actually create posts for the week. I have a virtual assistant. She just then copies and pastes the posts and creates. Sometimes I create the visuals for her, and I just pass it over. Sometimes I don't have the time, and then she'll does it. So there's ways to actually set yourself up so that you can actually just say, okay, I'm going to work 1 hour a day on the business in the evenings or on the weekends. So I think it's absolutely possible to do it with the right support, knowing exactly what to implement and how to use the system. And of course, there's never a good time to get started, right? There's never a good time. Again, if you're really sure you want to start a business, then why not start on the side and then start now, right? Because we have to be aware that procrastination and perfectionism will always come in your way, because you will never, ever feel ready. So how do you best transition? As I already alluded to, perhaps the side hustle. What did I do? I actually quit my job. I happened to be on maternity leave at that time, transitioning time, which was fine. And then I was also lecturing at a university, and I was teaching in a couple of schools, business schools. So I did sort of freelancing as a transition, and then I was building my online business. So I did a hybrid of leave the job and then do a side hustle. I mean, when I was a freelancer, I was already doing this under my own banner. So that means I actually had to approach people and get work. So I already had to do some marketing for myself back then. But then you have something that is a little bit steady, maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and you have that steady income as well. So that's also possible. Now, I didn't do the 1 hour a day business model, but now as I have developed my programs, I'm actually more targeting the 1 hour a day, because quite often, even in my own business, I've realized that I faff around a lot. And if I did a time study, because I used to be a continuous improvement consultant, going into factories and doing time and movement studies and things like that, I would actually be able to remove a lot of waste, a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be doing. And I'm doing this more and more in my own business, auditing what really needs doing, what's going to move the needle, and what is just, extras, which we think we have to do, like little admin things. And, of course, some of the stuff we have to do. But like I thought I had to create a website and a fantastic logo. Luckily, my husband's a graphic designer. He did all that for me. But in the end, I realized the website itself and the logo didn't do anything for my business. I needed to go and speak to people, even if it was rough around the edges. I didn't have no website, even if it's just a Google document that says this is what I'm doing. And that can be achieved in 1 hour a day, absolutely. So we don't have to be polished. So I already mentioned you can dedicate 1 hour a day or on weekends. What matters is the consistency, and that you create some time blocks and that you're going to go and do it, and that you have stepping stones. Number 2, you want to focus on the high impact tasks that really move the needle. I already mentioned that just now. So not just the branding, social media, and all the shiny objects. It's having real conversations that drive results and doing the things that will get you seen, heard properly. And we want to avoid information overload. So again, this could be, I've been totally caught in this where I consume a lot and then don't do anything with this. So when you guys go away today, I want you to do something. One thing you're gonna post in this chat to say, this is what I'm gonna do. If it's a 5-minute little thing, a research, whatever it is, when you think about it, what am I gonna do with this information? Because implementation beats endless research and planning. And having something like ChatGPT or Claude, any of these AI tools, it will really help you. Even just open up the free thing, the free model, and say, oh, I want to start a new business. Help me understand what I want to do, or I'm stuck here. Give me a few steps, right? So you don't, as I said, you don't need a website, fancy software, complicated things. It can just confuse. So homework, think about what you're going to do with this information before we leave. I'd love to see, for you to share. 4 essential business components. So when you look at business, it's actually quite easy, right? In terms of what's included, right? But the hard part is to make it your own and to implement it so that it truly aligns, I guess, with who you are, but also aligns exactly with the clients that you want to attract. And that's the tricky part. And that's where you want to spend a lot of time looking at who you want to work with. What's your offer? What problem are you solving and for who? Then you want to ask some really nitty-gritty questions around, okay, what are the different buying personas? Because within, like, you could, for example, say, I want to work with moms who want to find a new job. Okay, let's say within sort of Rebecca's space. Okay, so there could be different moms. It could be a new mom. It could be an expecting mom. It could be maybe it's not a mom at all. It's just a woman that is in her 50s and she now wants to change career and she's stuck in a dead-end job. And every one of these avatars will have slightly nuanced problems and beliefs and thoughts and feelings and background. So we want, and again, ChatGPT, for example, will really help go through these nuances and say, okay, what are my different avatars? What are they feeling? What are they believing? What are they going through? Because you want to dial deep, because that will flow into your visibility when it comes to putting yourself out there. Maybe you want to talk about this in a video. Maybe you want to create a post on social media. Maybe you want to run ads. You may need to go back to these avatars and really talk about that in your content. Then you need something, obviously visibility, there's a lot to talk about. I think I have another slide in terms of how to become visible. There's lots of different avenues, but I just want to give you a high level overview. The next thing you need, as I said, you don't need a website. You just need a payment provider, a place where someone can actually give you money. That could be a bank transfer, as long as you have a bank. It could even be a private bank to start with. Of course, it'd be nice to start a business bank. I think in the UK you need a limited company to open a business bank account. I'm not sure how it was, but I had some weird complications opening my business bank account. So I actually use PayPal and Stripe, and then you have control over what's coming in, what's going out. So it actually keeps it quite neat in those accounts. And if you don't know about these PayPal and Stripe, you can actually create an invoice or a link for someone to go and pay you from those software. So you don't need anything else. You could just create a Google document with your offer and a payment link. Then number 4 is your platform. So again, depends if you're in digital marketing, obviously, then we think about platform software. How do you deliver? Could be coaching courses, consulting. Just meet over Zoom, like what we're doing here, Teams, those kinds of connection or in-person events. And then of course, if you have a digital offering and you want to record things and you have workbooks and maybe you want to create community, then I would nowadays recommend School because it's so easy to set up, and you even have a hobby plan for $9 a month to get started. Before when I joined, it was they only had plans for $99 a month. So it can rack up very, very quickly, especially when you start up. So School is an amazing platform. Of course, there are all kinds of other software. Again, if I was a startup again and I had School, I would do that rather than trying to create websites and complicated pages and click next and buy this now and here's a checkout. I have those as well in my business. It's for different reasons, but I'm less and less inclined actually using that. And then if you do work again with corporates, I have a course called Get Corporate Clients. So if anyone's interested around that, just ping me a message. I have that within another community. I have 2 communities on School. One is more or less for entrepreneurs, but within the Get Corporate Clients, obviously the setup will be a little bit different in terms of the invoicing, how you acquire a client, how you negotiate, kind of packs you may need, a proposal pack and stuff like that as well. So these are just nuances again, depends who you're working with. So let's talk about your offer. Just want to pause for a moment. Any questions so far? Does this make sense? Any observations? Otherwise, I'll just rattle on and share with you what kind of questions you want to ask in each of these stages. Okay, all good? So your offer. As I already said, you want to identify your problem. So you want to solve a very specific problem for a specific audience. I said that one of the ways to really get into nitty-gritty, you don't have to go out and do market research. Back then, we had a survey and I asked, people on Google Forms or something, A, B, C, and multiple choice, or I had to meet with them and speak to them. Now it's really easy because we have OpenAI, which has a lot of intelligence about people, about their behavior, about their purchasing behavior, about their feelings, their problems, what they're saying to themselves, and all those kind of things. So we can easily use AI for that. And then you can always then, whatever you get from AI, you can just double check and maybe ask someone who may be a ideal client of yours to say, okay, do you resonate with this? Does this actually ring a bell? So you can always kind of test it that way as well. So the key questions is what are their pain points? Who needs this? And what differentiates my offer? There may be loads of other service providers out there, which is actually a good sign because that means there is an audience for it. There's a demand there. But again, we need to think, what are they maybe not providing, or maybe there are gaps. The way to find out about these things is obviously go to their websites, have a look, maybe look at client testimonials. Another way, there's a way to go on Amazon and you can find your niche related books and then go to the reviews. And sometimes the books there will be a bad review about this and say, oh yeah, I really needed to know about how to create an offer. And this book didn't really give me the step-by-step process, for example, right? So there's like, oh, okay. So one of the things that people want is a step-by-step process, or maybe they even need a template to do this, and they need maybe a chat GPT prompt to help them exactly with that. So, oh, I will make sure I bake this into my offer. So that's what I did, right? So what are things, and also we need to go with the flow. Now I'm thinking, how am I going to help my clients with AI? What do they need to know about AI and use AI in their business? And because the reason why I was not only a speaker in this AI summit that I mentioned before, but there's a lot of conversation going on around AI and how people feeling so overwhelmed and which tools they should be using, what makes sense to them. They don't want to spend too much money and they just want to get their stuff done. So I actually took notes of all these. I'm like, that's market research for me. That's why I need to build into my programs and make sure answer all these questions. I want to keep it simple. Not too many offers. I was there before. I probably had about 20 or 30 offers and mini programs. I kept the best, put it all onto school now, into my community, and I bundle it up into one sort of tier, basically. With school communities, you can have different tiers and some monthly subscriptions or one-off payments. So bundling things up is a good way. And maybe think about what is your key solution? What is your most optimal solution, for you to deliver, which is fun, is not overly complicated to create, and it also makes a big impact on your clients, and it makes you money. So you can think about all of this, and you want to come up with maybe one main way of how you actually serve the client, and then you can spin off some smaller offers. Like, for example, I have a 90-day program, which is like very intense, and they learn everything, and we do everything together. They have a high level of access to me, and we brainstorm, we co-work, we do all that stuff. But if someone's not ready to invest at that high level, they can actually just have a one-off call with me, and I'll do like a road mapping call with them. And that's also less investment. It actually sets them up to go and do something, right? And quite often they go and implement and then come back and then enroll into the bigger program. So those are ways to spin off different programs. And then some people talk about you have to have a lead magnet. So just want to address that as well. So this is something like you want to put out there for free, so people will get to know you, like you, trust you. That could be just a part of your solution. It could be one piece of the solution that you are providing. It could be one step or stepping stone. For example, for me, I have a freebie, like a lead magnet, something I give away for free. Could be like the ultimate offer template. Or how do you write your offer? So I could actually make something from this PowerPoint slide here and put the questions in, and maybe some blank spaces. It would be like a workbook, and I could actually market this to give away for free. And then I could take this recording from this workshop and then add it as a bonus, because at the end of the workshop I say, hey, come and join my community. This is where you find more resources. I can help you with this, and so on, right? So it's how you would acquire a client. So which does anyone want to share what their ideas in terms of their business? We have obviously we talked about franchise. What kind of franchise is it? Physical product, digital product,
No, it would very much be in the consulting, stroke coaching area. I'm especially interested in the health and safety scene, so it would be around that kind of thing.
So perfect. You fall into one of these groups, which is more coaching, consulting, yeah, service based. I just want to mention these because they have slightly different nuances. The coaching, consulting does involve, obviously, perhaps face-to-face or Zoom conversations. And there is time you have to invest and tailor a lot when you're working with clients. Whereas when you do courses and memberships, it becomes a little bit more leveraged, right? Because you create something once, you put it into a membership, and then maybe you have a weekly call with your members or something like this. This would be like Rebecca's created and myself inside of school. And then you have digital products and services, which is I've created a course once and I just sell it on the website. I don't never have to be involved anymore unless they want a refund or I have to update it somehow, right? So this is we move towards the right-hand side. There's less and less hands-on kind of work involved, and so some of it's really, really powerful. And we may actually start somewhere. Like I started with one-to-one coaching and consulting, but then I worked my way towards the right-hand side. Actually, I did the digital services and products afterwards as I realized, oh, they always had the same sort of problems and questions. And why don't I just put a little video together that my clients, future clients can come and watch it as a sort of a get started. And then it evolved into a course. And then lastly, I put it into a membership. And now I'm just going along with what I'm creating. I'm sharing every day. Oh, now today I've just done Facebook ads. I'm just going to share over the shoulder how I'm doing this so people can actually join and experience. So you may grow into the different areas naturally, and maybe you'll start creating some sort of hybrid, possibly. So the visibility, yeah, I said I have like a little slide where, because that's always a big question. I'm doing a visibility challenge inside the Evergreen Business Queens school group. This is my second group where I just purely work with entrepreneurs. So I want to help them to get 100 leads in 7 days, right? So that's what my research said is people just want leads. Of course, they want the leads to become customers as well, and I'm going to talk about this. But it's always the visibility seems to be the heartbeat, and to be consistent with it as well. So because obviously we've got to put out some sort of content, we can create content once and have it recycle on Evergreen. Different platforms will do that much better than others. Like we know probably TikTok is the worst, and I'm not even using it. My teenagers actually always come and show me some stuff, but this is very short-lived. Like we've had to create so much content. The same with like Twitter platforms. So when you want to establish something that's a bit more long term, maybe you want to go on something like YouTube, right? We've got, of course, different levels of involvement and different levels of production here as well. If you think about YouTube and how much goes into a YouTube or a blog, for example, blog posts, they are long-lived as well. They can be searched up. And I like LinkedIn. So I work a lot on LinkedIn because I still work also with corporate clients. So LinkedIn for me is a good space where I actually blog. So basically that's my newsletter. And I post there as well. You can also do videos. And of course, you can do that on most other platforms. But it's really about sharing an insight. That would be always step one. Whatever platform you're using, you want to share your insight, share an experience, share a tip, maybe share a story. It doesn't always need to be about business. Actually, you probably know this, that posts that share real vulnerability and the story actually produce more likes, comments, shares, connection, right? So we got to think about it, how we are visible, how we share, and what types of content we share. Number two, we want to engage in groups. Now, this is big. I love, again, less LinkedIn. I'm actually not in that many LinkedIn groups. I'm more in school communities nowadays, and where I just participate in conversations. I post here and there as well. Probably I should do it more. And I've been very, very consistent. So especially on school, you can now have a look on your profile if you have an account, and you can actually track how consistent you've been showing up. And the darker the greens, the more consistent. So I've been building a couple of weeks of very dark greens now, so I'm quite excited about it. But not only that, it's not about vanity and getting likes and shares. It's really about building connection. Through that, I had just in the last 24 hours, I had about 30 members joining my community because they've seen something I've posted. Now they're coming into my community. They're gonna probably join Traffic Challenge next week, the the leads challenge that I've created, and then they get to know me. They see, oh, okay, there's another level. This is how they can work with me if they want to upgrade, right? So community is really, really a good lever, and school is starting to become one of my favorite. Number 3, collaboration partners. So I'm collaborating with Rebecca here. I come in and do a masterclass in her group, whilst she came into my group and she did a masterclass there. So we can actually exchange knowledge and also provide value to the members by exchanging masterclasses. So you could think about, well, who are my potential collaborators that we have complementary services that we could perhaps collaborate on, giving a shout out on social media or doing a masterclass, a podcast, a guest expert talk, or whatever it might be, right? So there's opportunity to collaborate with people who already have your audience, but they're not exactly doing what you are doing or what you're proposing to do. And that is a strategic partnership. And then number 4, you want to encourage your satisfied clients to refer new business to you. This is very much overlooked and underrated. Also in line with continuous improvement and feedback, we need to know, as service providers, are we doing a good job? What could we do differently? And getting some sort of client testimonial and getting feedback from the client should be actually part of our offboarding process. Maybe you can upsell something to them. Maybe they're so satisfied they've got to their goal, and maybe there's a next goal that they can achieve, especially with the coaching consulting side of things. It could be, what else do you want to achieve if it's an individual, or if you are working with corporates, well, where else in your organization do you have a similar conversation and challenge? Can you introduce me to that department, right? So we've got to think about existing clients, and of course, if they give you referrals and recommendations as well as testimonials, we want to use that and bake it into our marketing and share those stories and share those testimonials as well. That's social proof. Yeah. So that all will lead to this visibility piece. Yeah, and as I said, don't do it alone. It's very, very lonely. It can be very lonely. What you may need is something that will really understand what it is that you're trying to achieve, right? So expert mentorship, that's number 1. Number 2, you may need tools and resources. You may need to know which software you need and which AI tools you need and don't need, and how to use them and how to deploy them. Number 3, you may need some accountability. So you're going to be not stuck and in procrastination and imposter and all that, right? So it's having those conversations and moving forward step by step. And then number 4, it's having a wonderful community around you with like-minded entrepreneurs. So I think that is it from me. I mean, of course, I kind of alluded to this. I do have this school community where I do have some resources. I'm building up more resources around entrepreneurship. But if you want to purely go into entrepreneurship, please contact me. I'll probably leave a link to my other school community, which is more about building evergreen systems and help you start up from A to Z, basically. But the Empower Me Hub is another space where we have a classroom where we talk to more or less professionals who are in a 9-to-5 right now, who are stuck, who may be thinking about leaving the corporate, and we actually just provide let's say a platform, a springboard, where they can become really clear around what their priorities are and how they want to tackle the next step. So we help build a step-by-step roadmap. We're actually having also a 7-day challenge kind of coming in the next couple of weeks, where we really help you get solid and clear around what it is that you want to build. We have a community as well around this, like-minded professionals, of course, and we do some coaching and we have resources. And of course, Rebecca is in there as one of our coaches, but I've got like another about 40 or so coaches in there that do all sorts of different things. You may be familiar with the school community. We've got the calendar, same thing. And we have other topics like emotional well-being, mental well-being, leadership, teen leadership, self-leadership. And so it's actually grown so much. I had to again simplify because it's too many ideas, too many areas that I know we can serve the community. So yeah, if you're interested, you can join in. I'll leave a link there for you. This is Rebecca's affiliate link, so Rebecca will get a little thank you from me. Anyone joins from this group. Again, we have this strategic partnership. We have a quest coming up as well. So it is that 7-day clarity quest, just sort of in line with we're almost at Christmas, New Year's. A lot of people actually thinking about changing up and not knowing where to go next. So that's going to be one of our next sort of milestones in the community. So I will stop sharing now and come back. And if you have any questions, please fire away. Right on time. This is amazing. 2 minutes to spare, and Rebecca's here as well.
Hey, sorry I was late, everyone. Had to pick up my son from school at that exact time it was starting, unfortunately. Bad planning on my part. But yeah, I thought that's obviously I didn't see the beginning, but that seemed very useful. Obviously, as someone who runs their own business and has done for 11 years, it all rang very true with all the different things of like the ups and downs of it and the things you don't quite realize you're going to have to take on, and how it's definitely very hard to have boundaries of, oh, I'll just check an email or whatever. Like I've got things like I don't have email notifications on my phone. So I can look at emails, I can click in and look, but it's not constantly telling me I've got an email, because otherwise you can get caught up looking at client emails late at night or whatever. And then if it's something that's a problem or whatever, like suddenly you're drawn into sorting that out rather than, doing it at a reasonable hour or whatever.
Boundaries are huge. I mean, this is the stuff that I teach inside my academy. It's setting up your own boundaries, but then also external boundaries towards your clients, because you need to have some sort of coaching contract. This is what you expect from me. This is what I expect from you, because obviously there's then legal things like terms and conditions about payments. Some people want to pay part pay, and then I had some of my clients, messaging me, literally in the middle of the night. Oh, this person doesn't want to pay me anymore. This is like month 2 and they don't want to pay me anymore. What do I do? Right? So there's several boundaries and hurdles to.
Exactly. I got stung early on with kind of like not charging up front and things like that, and then someone getting the work and then just not paying the rest of the money and stuff. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, we're not doing that again. But sometimes you learn the hard way with things, so it's always useful to get some support maybe earlier on so that you don't make those mistakes, and it can save you time and money for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of curiosity, you talked about using AI as a way of running ideas through. How much do you think AI would support you in doing that nowadays versus going out and finding potential clients and picking their brains?
I would say 100%, because I don't do that anymore. What I do nowadays is brainstorm with some very specific prompts, nuances around each client avatar and sub avatars. And then I would go and create some posts in my community. So that's another, or in any other community, if you're allowed to post there, you can do a poll. So that's what I would do nowadays, and get some feedback around particular issues or what they want next or what's the first thing. So one of the questions for me was, where do most entrepreneurs get stuck? So I had like 4 options. Is it visibility? Is it creating offers? Is it processes and systems? And visibility came up very, very strongly. So that gave me an indication this is the next thing that they want me to create.
Got it.
Yeah, I was just going to add to what Sabine's already said, and I've typed it in the chat as well, but I'm familiar with a software by the name of Venture AI that basically, through artificial intelligence, creates a business plan for you and also gives you a good level of hazard analysis of all the different businesses that might otherwise compete with your business and how you might differentiate yourself from other levels of competition. And another thing I would recommend doing, if you're not already on it, is join Help Bank, which is a social media platform run by Simon Squibb, who's quite literally patented the frame, "What's your dream?" Because he's an entrepreneur that helps other would-be entrepreneurs to build up their business. So, yeah.
One thing I would add
Awesome.
about using AI is always make sure, because it will basically always tell you every idea is great. It's kind of built in, like, kind of, especially ChatGPT is like, will big you up, be like, yeah, you're amazing. This is the best idea ever. You're going to make millions. You always have to make sure you ask it, like, what are the flaws in this idea? Where could this go wrong? Like, what else? Like, so I think, especially with asking it or about ideal client stuff, it's good, but also I think you need to do talking to real people as well. Like Sabine said, like doing a poll then or whatever. Especially in the beginning, it's probably even more important to actually go out and speak to people if you can, or even just get on calls with people or chat to people like on school. You could then, most people are open to having a chat and, like, you know, a networking call with them or something to find out information from actual people, because then you can use that information in ChatGPT, and then once you've got a really clear ideal client, it's a lot better at giving you the information back. So I think with anything, is AI is as good as the stuff you give it. Like, you have to give it the right prompts and the right information, otherwise it will kind of make stuff up. So there's that, always like that dangerous like telling you it's the best idea ever when actually it's probably a terrible idea. It's like, yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely have to ask it for constructive feedback on things.
We can give you an example. So something I've worked with this morning on one of my clients. We did a brainstorm. So she wanted to create a webinar, and she gave me rough titles. We then brainstormed who's her avatar, and then we asked ChatGPT, okay, now let's do some research together. So basically, we had a flow. So step one, can you see this? ChatGPT. Yep. So we've got the flow is give us 11 buying personas. So this one is to do with parenting. So the overwhelmed parent having to deal with kids and teenagers and so on. So we have different ones. So we've got the overwhelmed one, the conscious parent, healer, burned out mother, and so on. Then we asked ChatGPT, give us the pain points, desires, beliefs, and thoughts and feelings. Now for each, it actually came up with those. And then we could go and ask, okay, you're an overwhelmed professional parent who is in a 9-to-5 job. Are these really your pain points? Are these your desires? Are these your beliefs and thoughts and feelings, right? So it already comes up with quite a lot of stuff. And I think there's a lot of research that it has access to. I mean, I'm a parent, and I was actually saying, oh yeah, this is quite good. I didn't realize. So it opens up a lot of avenues.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Any more questions?